Good morning, everybody. You are very welcome to the webinar this morning, and I hope you are all keeping well and safe. My name is Vaida Holohan, and I'm an e-learning consultant here at Enovation. And I'm sharing my contact details with you, and I'm also going to share them at the end of the session. So if you need to get in touch regarding any queries, e-learning or regarding Moodle or the new features, you are very welcome to get in touch. Okay, some housekeeping. This webinar is recorded, and recording can be made available at the end of the session. And the plan for today, I'm going to talk a little bit about Enovation and the services that we provide. We're going to look at the reasons for upgrading and then review some highlights from previous versions just to set everything into context. And then we're going to look at the highlights for 3.9. At the end of this webinar, we're going to have some time for questions and answers. So if you would like to, as I speak, to put them in the chat area, hopefully I'm going to be able to answer the questions that you will have. Okay, so Enovation is a technology company, and head offices are in Dublin, and we also have offices in France, in Poland, and the US. We are a certified partner with Moodle, and we also are ISO 27001 certified, which is a proof that security is very important to us. The platforms that we work with are open source, and such as Moodle, Moodle Workplace, Total Learn, and we also have our own developed platform, Aura Talent, that supports talent management and career progression. Our services focus around all things e-learning, and that includes hosting, consultancy, content development. We provide training for all the products that we host, and we can also offer custom development when default features of the platforms are not sufficient, or if you would like them to tweak a little bit. And we also provide support services, so that ranges from system usage, configuration, setup, enrollments, plugins, upgrades, and you name it, basically, any questions that you might have. Okay, so you might wonder, upgrading, why it is important and why to do that. And first and foremost, upgrading is about having secure platform. So Moodle 3.9 is a long-term support version and will be supported for 36 months till May 2023. So long-term support version is a good version to be on, as other versions are supported for 18 months. So every version has some new features and enhancements that are introduced. And you can see that Moodle works continuously to improve the experiences for anybody who is using it. So looking at this table, you can see kind of a range of features that are introduced for administrators, for teachers, and for other users in general. And you can see how Moodle is trying to kind of keep on top of what's going on in the world and meet the needs of people and educators and learners. So yeah, this is kind of the end of the table. Don't worry, we're not going to cover all of those today. We're going to have a look at some of the highlights, because there's really a lot in it, but the highlights would be kind of maybe most interesting. Okay, so just a short overview from kind of selected features from version 3.5 and 3.8. And as a response to, for example, GDPR regulations that came into effect in 2018, Moodle 3.5 introduced the site policies, consent management, the role of a data protection officer, so that you could kind of respond to the environment and all of it is taken into account and allows you to comply. Then direct sound recording was introduced, so that is something that perhaps improves the social aspect of the platform and provides a kind of a social collaboration where you can communicate in something more than text. So, for example, when a trainer grades the assignment, they can provide the feedback in a little video recording rather than just give it, you know, in typed up form. Group messaging is something that allows for targeted communications, so it's easier to kind of drill down to the learners that you want to contact, and dashboards having improved quite a bit, even throughout this from 3.5 to 3.9. And I guess, like I mentioned before, some of the features in Moodle are not new. Some of the features are improved features. So it's interesting to know and to see how all those kind of elements of the system are evolving. So let's have a look at the dashboard and how it evolved. So for example, in 3.5, you have the course overview block, and it shows you the courses that you are enrolled in. And there are three tabs to kind of navigate around: the future, past, and present, something that is in progress. You can see the courses, you can see the progress that you have made in them, and really more or less that's about it. And then, so let's have a look how it looks at the moment in Moodle 3.9. So basically, there is a possibility to star courses. There is a possibility to filter. If you can filter through course name, through course category, you can pick and choose the layout of how you would like the courses to be presented. So this would be a summary layout, this would be a card layout, and this would be list. So again, you know, that's depending on administrator. You can make those layouts available to your learners, or you can just say, no, actually, I think, you know, for example, summary would be something that is suitable. But really, I guess this all ties into the user experience, and when they log into the system, how are they going to find the things that are important for them? For example, starting courses is excellent because they can just say, okay, really, I need to focus on this, so I'm going to start it for myself. It's like a little, you know, bookmark that they can kind of navigate back to the course that is relevant. So really, really helpful for making that user experience easier and smooth. Okay, so now let's have a look at the new features for 3.9. Some of the features like I mentioned, are not new. They are like extensions or enhancements of or features that already existed. And some features are new and quite good. A lot of them, I feel in this version, focus on trainers. A lot it helps to and facilitates kind of course setup, adding activities to courses, and H5P integration is a particularly good one, I think, and as well as the Safe Exam Browser. So let's have a look at each of those features one by one. Editing on. And if you are familiar with Moodle, you know very little can happen without turning editing on. And in 3.7 version, editing on, kind of you had to navigate to the little cog item, and there is a drop-down menu, and you can find it, or it was available under course administration. But now basically the button has been brought back in, so you can't miss it. You don't have to click on anything for it to show. It's just easier, very small change, but definitely is gonna make life easier for a lot of trainers. The next feature also for kind of focused on trainer experience is activity chooser and improvements to activity chooser. So as a site administrator, you can decide what tabs are going to be displayed in activity chooser. So in this case, you can have, for example, start activities similarly to the way the learners were able to start their courses. Um, Course creator can start activities that they are using a lot. So if you're a heavy user of H5P, you can start it for yourself, and it's always going to appear at the front kind of tab. You can view all or split into activities and resources, and then you could also have a look at the recommended activities, and recommended activities would be the activities that site administrator would say, hey, I think these could be useful in your teaching practice, and they can kind of highlight them. So this would be how basically when you turn editing on with your new button, you click on add an activity and resource, start activities are going to appear for you, all activities are going to appear for you, and this is a long list and will include any kind of additional, if you have any additional plugins installed in your site, this will list those activities also. There is a difference between activities and resources, and activities is something that the learner has to engage with and can participate in, or it needs to respond to, and resources are just something that they can refer to or reference. And like I mentioned, the recommended tab is introduced also for something that site administrator thinks, I think really you should be using those more often, so all of that recommendation is there. What I like about Activity Chooser, and this is not a new feature, but I am very happy that it was kept, is that especially when you are new to Moodle, that Moodle tries to be as helpful as possible. So basically, if you are adding an activity, if you don't really know what is the context, how best to configure it, and how can I use it to maximize my experience and experience for my learners, you can click on the little eye icon and it brings up the description of the activity, and then you can always refer to Moodle documentation for help. So that didn't go away, that is kept, and I guess that's really, really helpful to kind of find out more, and then you watch the short videos about it, and read about the best possible use cases. Okay, again, participants filters would be something that will dramatically improve the teacher experience. So basically, you probably know, for example, if you're going to site administration and browse user lists, there is a possibility to filter users even in bulk user actions. You can filter users by various various criteria. Now filtering option is also introduced in participants list at the course level. So you can filter by user status, you can filter by user roles, you can filter by enrollment methods. I guess really handy also is that you can filter by an activity period. So, if you have an enrollment that starts at a particular date, and you need to to make sure that people have logged in, and 2 weeks later you see that some people haven't logged in yet, you can filter through very easily and then just send a message to those users. So that's really, really handy. You can, if somebody has been inactive, you can filter through here. You can clear filters and then start again. And you can filter through, for example, enrollment methods, if you have different types of enrollments, where some users where for some it's mandatory training and they are told that they have to do it, but for some might be kind of self-enrollment. So that's really handy to distinguish between those two groups. And also filtering options allow for kind of managing multiple conditions. So you can say, if you are self-enrolled and if you are active and if you haven't been online for more than 4 days, I want to send you a message or I want to review your profile. So that's all there. You can combine different kind of search filters. So that's really, really handy. Something when reviewing the kind of participants, this is again not a new feature, but something that you might not have been aware of, is that within the participants, it is possible to manage the enrollment duration for each individual user. So you can say, okay, if you enrolled on 15th of July, how much time am I going to give you to complete that course? And you can say, okay, you're going to have 3 months, so you can easily configure it and then kind of forget about it, so you don't have to have a calendar reminder to unenroll somebody. Okay. So now H5P content. H5P content is open source content collaboration framework, and that provides a possibility to create and to share and to reuse interactive content. This can be done directly into Moodle. No authoring tools are required. So H5P itself is not new to Moodle, and you might be already aware that there is a plugin and you can install the plugin and use it. But 3.9 offers an integration. So it's a kind of a full integration, and you can have content banks, and it actually connects to Gradebook, and therefore supports activity completion. So with your new activity chooser, when you can just add the H5P activity. And then if you have already pre-created an H5P activity, you can simply upload it. And alternatively, you can access the question bank. The question bank is something that is kind of set up at a course level, and in the content bank, you will see all the activities that you H5P activities that you created for that particular course. You will see the name, you will see when it was last modified, and the size for the activity. And you can also, when you click into the activity, you can edit it, or you can add a new one. So adding a new activity is very straightforward. You just click on add, and then you can choose from a range of activities that are listed. Some H5P activities support completion tracking and some do not. So really kind of you have to explore and find your way around them because there is quite a lot of them. If you're not familiar with H5P, I would strongly recommend going to h5p.org and having a look at examples that they have available there. And because there are so many to choose from, I'm sure that you will find something that fits your needs. If you wish to edit an H5P activity, you simply, from the content bank, you just click onto it and then you click the edit button, and then from within it, you can add new questions, you can add different images, you can add even feedback that they're gonna get if they're gonna get the answer right, the feedback that they can get if they get the answer wrong. So really a lot of opportunities here, and it just allows for a creation of very nice interactive content from within your Moodle site. In the activity settings, when you are creating the H5P activity, so you see, for example, the packages in here. So it even similar to kind of a SCORM package that would be here, kind of like a file. So this how you can share the files between the sites. So you can just kind of download it and then upload it to a different site if you need it. And you can choose when you are making H5P activity available to learners, if you will have an embed button, if you are allowing to download, or you can also include a copyright button if that is applicable. For the activities that have knowledge checks within them, you can then set the grade to pass. So that's really, really handy because like in a quiz or in a SCORM, the learners have to get a certain grade in order to be marked as complete, and that can be ticked off. And really handy again from the trainer point of view is that in the attempts report, then you can see the attempts. You can see what time the learners have attempted it, what is the score they got, and how many attempts they had. And then afterwards, you can drill down to the attempts and review the attempts. And the learners themselves can also view the attempts that they have taken. So they can review kind of overall attempts for that particular activity, but if they click on view, they can view each individual attempt, and they can see, what time again they completed it, how long they spent on it, and did they pass or not, and what was the grade that they received. So that's really, really handy, something that wasn't available before, brand new in 3.9, and really is gonna make life easier, and just that integration just adds another level to the H5P content. Another feature that I wanted to talk about today is the Safe Exam Browser. And Safe Exam Browser is a customized web browser that allows to deliver improved and more secure online assessment. I guess in the current environment, when assessments are not probably possible, in schools, because of COVID, more and more assessments are moved online. So Safe Exam Browser would be particularly handy and useful. And learners, if a quiz is set to require a Safe Exam Browser, learners cannot attempt a quiz unless they have downloaded a Safe Exam Browser. Then you can basically, the similar functionality already existed in 3.7 or in previous versions, and it is similar to browser security extra restrictions on attempts, browser security settings. But because Safe Exam Browser is running on students' computer, it is more effective. Okay, so let's have a look at how to set it up. So when you are setting up a quiz activity, there is a tab that is called Safe Exam Browser, and then you can decide if you want to configure the browser yourself. Do you want to upload an existing configuration or use a Safe Exam Browser client configuration? If you would like to configure it yourself, there are really quite a lot of options to choose from. And then you can decide, are you gonna ask them to download it when they want to quit? What happens when they want to quit? Are you asking them to confirm that they want to quit the Safe Exam Browser? Are you going to show them different types of controls? So for example, Wi-Fi connection, time, something like that. But really, what happens from the learner point of view is that when they are accessing the quiz activity, they can download the configuration and download the exam browser, and basically once they have that software, they can launch it when they are accessing the quiz. So everything that they had open prior to launching Safe Exam Browser, it's going to be closed off, and no navigation is allowed. I have a few screenshots, so I will be able to show you. So basically, this is how it looks. As you can see, there is no URL, so they cannot search for things. All the different other applications are closed off. All the shortcuts on keyboards also are closed off, so it is not possible to to pull something up for yourself, because it closes down everything and then they can attempt the quiz. They actually have to log into Moodle again. And then when they attempt the quiz like they would normally in Moodle, then when they submit their account, there's going to be a question, are you sure you want to quit it? And then once you quit it, you are brought back to where you were originally. And basically that is going to be how the user experience is managed. The one thing to note is that you can once you are configuring the safe exam browser, once there are any attempts on the quiz, you're not going to be able to reconfigure it. So my recommendation would be to test it out before you make available to learners, because that just would be good practice. But then once you have the file itself and you have configured it, and you are happy with it, then you can basically upload it to a different quiz activity, and so you don't have to reconfigure it again. Okay. Again, one more feature for the trainers, copy courses. So basically, as you know, there is a feature for backup and restore, and it involves quite a lot of steps. So, it's not very difficult steps. You have to click on next, 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 and all that stuff. But basically, that experience of making a copy of a course is now more streamlined and more user-friendly, and basically just easier. So the way you can access it is, say, for example, if you are in a course category, you can just click on the little icon for copying courses, and you will see that then you will have to put in the new name for the course, short name, decide what category, excuse me, you would like to put it in. And very important, again, like with backup and restore, is whether you would like to include the user data. And if you are making just a copy for next intake, perhaps you don't, but then this is just something to think about. So there is an option to either include it or not. And then when you are happy with the name, naming convention and all that stuff, actually, one point to note here is that if your course format is relative dates, a feature that was introduced in Moodle 3.8, the dates cannot be changed. So I guess from the data point of view, the original course date is going to be taken into account. So just bear that in mind. And once you are happy, the course copy process is gonna be kind of created, and then it's gonna take a few minutes for the course to be copied over, and then you will see the new course in your course catalog. Okay, now it is possible to restrict the completions of activities based on completion of previous activity. A previous activity has to have a kind of completion setup. So again, this is for trainers, and this is this will help you to sequence the flow of the courses. So say if you have three documents that you would like your learners to review, and documents are going to be marked as complete as soon as they click on it, but at least they have engaged in it in some way. So you can say, okay, while setting it up, you can say previous activity that exists in this course and has the activity completion set up, it needs to be marked as complete for the learner to be able to access this current activity. And it's going to manage the kind of visibility like it would if you were selecting the name for an activity. I guess it is really, really handy for courses that have multiple number of activities set up, and it's not easy to kind of navigate between the names and stuff. So all you have to do is you have to remember what precedes that activity that you are setting restriction access for, and if it has activity completion requirement set, the current activity is not going to be made available to learners. The Moodle 3.9 has an improved book navigation, and I guess in some ways some learners found it confusing because the way you are navigating within the book is using those arrows, and kind of right next below the arrows there are activities that you can kind of navigate back and forth with. So very small feature, but really I think it's going to make life easier for users who are using the books, is that there is a little line, and so you can know that you are within the book, and also you can access the table of contents, so you know where you are navigating to. And the activity settings, kind of activities that are linking or preceding or following this activity that you're viewing, are going to be just below the line, so there is a little separation there. Again, a book activity will display differently depending on the kind of theme that you are using. So in here we're using theme Lambda, and again the navigation is there is that separation from the book activity itself, or from the content within the book, and basically from the activities within the course. Okay. The last, but not the least, feature of Moodle 3.9 is Go to Top. Again, some of the themes might have already included in previous versions, but now in Boost even, or in Lambda theme Lambda, you could basically have a little arrow, and for courses that are big and have a lot of activities, so basically you don't have to be scrolling back. You can just click on that and you're going to be taken directly to the top. So it's again very tiny improvement, but it's going to make that experience that much more user-friendly. Okay, so roadmap for Moodle 4. Moodle 4 is going to be released in November 2021, and the focus is on user experience and flow, and basically how Moodle products are going to connect. So we are waiting, I guess, to see about what are the new features that are going to be offered with the new version. And in the meantime, other features that you might want to consider for your Moodle would be Big Blue Button. We are partners with Big Blue Button, and that means that if you have a Moodle site with us, that you can get a free tier for Big Blue Button, which offers web conferencing and for up to 50 people. And the only thing that if you would like to have recordings kept for more than 7 days, a premium tier would be required. And the premium tier of Big Blue Button has a lot of features around training, and kind of helps to facilitate the sessions in a way that it has chat areas. It can have a collaborative area where all the learners can work together. Students can split into breakout rooms, and you can assign the time that's going to be spent in the breakout rooms, and the host can kind of navigate in between those rooms and see that the discussions are kind of going on, and answer any questions that the learners might have. So really handy. And basically, if you have a premium tier, also the recordings are going to be made available in that activity where you set it up for Big Blue Button for the learners to kind of refer back afterwards. And we also have a Moodle Educator Certification course offering that is done from Moodle headquarters, and Moodle headquarters basically an accrediting body and will issue a certificate. And basically the MSc focuses on 22 digital competences in the areas of professional engagement, digital resources, assessment, teaching and learning, as well as empowering learners. So basically, the way it works is that you can sign up for the course, you get access to the online materials, lots and lots of materials to look through. Then there are quizzes that you need to complete and assignments, written assignments. What I really like about this course is that it has case studies. So it basically presents the context that the um, certain activities can be used for, and it can challenge your way of looking at different activities and kind of seeing how it fits your requirement and seeing how to get most out of it to enhance collaboration between learners, even enhance collaboration between trainers, and see how you can share that content, say for example that you have developed with H5P. So or any other ways. Okay, so I think that would be I guess all for today, and I'm just gonna have a look at the questions that we have in the chat, and if we have any questions. If you, I don't have any questions at the moment in the chat, but if you have anything that you would like to ask, please feel free to type it in there, and I'll try and answer as best as I can. I just had to get a sip of water. Okay, so somebody is asking, are the Moodle Educator courses free? No, they are not free. There is a charge that is associated with it. So if you would like to know the costing, please get in touch and we will be able to send you an email and more information about the program. Okay, sorry. Okay, is there a change to gradebook at all, or is it the same? The gradebook, my understanding that the gradebook is the same. From what we saw today is that H5P is now also integrated with gradebook. So that's a handy new feature. However, on its own, I think gradebook stayed the same. Yeah. Okay, question about cohort management. So is there a way to take a list of enrolled participants in a course and convert it into a cohort? I guess there is a way to put the users into groups at a course level. What I would do is, if I wanted to create a cohort, it would be to export the list, and you can upload the cohort. So basically, if you just have the usernames, you can easily create a cohort at a site level. Okay, guys, we have no more questions at the moment. So thank you very much for attending. Thank you very much for your time. And enjoy the rest of the summer.